You mentioned the 20 minutes there. I do think the Penrith Panthers 20 minutes, when they put a 20 minutes together, is better than anyone else's in the competition. And I would argue it's been better than anybody's for quite a long time. And I think that's a result of their players coming through the same development system on the whole, playing so many years together through juniors, etc., etc. That's the result of long-term planning. And I do really feel for Penrith in that they're supplying so many other players to other teams in the competition, but they also seem to be unearthing ones as well. However, I do see some weakness in there that possibly wasn't there a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But their 20 minutes is better than anyone else's, and evidence of that was last year's grand final too. The last 20 minutes where they just changed the game. And key to that for me is in that first half, they completed nearly every set, 24 out of 25. Defensively, their shoulder contact was brilliant. So it was very clear to me straight away that Penrith were probably 5, maybe even 10% more intense in everything that they did than the Roosters were. The Roosters really struggled to contain Penrith in this form. And I dare say that is a result of some of the players that were missing. The Penrith originally started going down the middle of the field when they were coming out of their own end, and then they weren't scared to run on the last play. They did that very, very early in the game, and that straight away, I think, helped to put the Roosters' defence on the back foot. They then come up, I don't know if you remember, Rosie, with one of their good ball sets, what you call the green zone or whatever colour you call it. They came up with a really intricate play where Cleary took part in the first pass and then looped around and popped up somewhere else. I find it hard to describe because it was very different. It was a little bit of a throwback to the Jack Gibson and Warren Ryan days a little bit, and maybe even a bit of Tim Sheen's. But their first try was actually from a very basic line shot. So what the Panthers tend to do is they tend to play a position called past post in the game, which basically means if you imagine yourself playing for the Penrith Panthers and you're wondering where your team is going, the posts, if you just go to the right of them or the left of them, you are playing just past post. So Penrith tended to launch about 3, 4, 5 meters from primarily the right post to attack to the left. But they were also happy to play from the middle so often during the game. The difference in Penrith, though, compared to so many other teams in the competition, so many teams take a play or two to get to whatever position they want to play to. So it might be the pass post or the scrum line or the middle. They might call it the 5, so 1 to 10, and the 5 being the middle. The difference with Penrith, when they've done that first line shot, some teams literally struggle to do something if they haven't scored on that play. So let's imagine play 1, play 2, you get to where you want to be it the middle, the pass post, the scrum lines, as I tend to like. And then you have a line shot where you move the ball across to the other end of the field. The big differences with Penrith. Number one, the lower teams have been critical about how they tend to play short first rather than long. Penrith played long to score this try. 2, though, if they don't score, it's what they do on play 4, 5, and 6 that is a lot better than so many other teams. So they see the set as a set of 6 as opposed to a set where they've got to score on that first line shot. And I find many teams will do that first line shot and go, oh shit, what do we do now? and if they don't, and even if Penrith are doing that, even if Penrith are going, oh shit, what do we do now? So many of their players have been together for so long, they know instinctively so much of what they can do. So that, I believe, is a different concept that the Panthers bring. They were really keen on turning the ball back inside very early on, which suggested to me that they wanted again to keep the Roosters on the back foot, stop them being physical, but also target the lateral movement of the Roosters middle. They targeted Luke Keary a lot. That's another reason why I put my Ipswich shirt on, Rosie, not just to make you feel at home, but also because I do believe we'll be talking about Luke Keary a little bit today. Their pace of their play the ball and their passing was really good. So they played at a rapid pace all the time, but their core skills were really good at that pace. So many teams can't sustain that pace. They play too quick. And I often talk about the difference between going fast and rushing. Penrith were actually going very fast. It was so close to rushing. Many teams, when they rush, they make errors. There's a difference between going quick and rushing. If you drive 100 kilometers an hour on the freeway, you are going fast, but it's within the speed limit. If you go over, you are rushing. And that's the point I'm trying to make there. As I've already said, they weren't scared to play to the last tackle, and that speaks to their combinations, their time on the ground together, their confidence with each other. If I'm going to give a warning to Penrith, it was how they let the Roosters start the second half. So I do honestly think, Rosie, that period of play is not sustainable for Penrith. And I don't know if they can do it again in this final series, because they often do it for 10 minutes later in a game.
Yeah.
So, whereas they've opened with this, and you can't tell me whoever's going to play Penrith in the prelim isn't going to be ready for this now. Okay, so they're going to have strategies to counter that.